Yeah, I bet a lot of people are mad about this. Yeah, you got refs ejecting people in the NFL now for kneeling during the national anthem. And of course, it's a private company. Isn't that the argument? Isn't that the argument with Google, with YouTube, with Apple? They get to deplatform any conservative for any reason. Twitter, they get to kick Gavin McInnes and the Proud Boys off for racially inspired violence when they've never called for that ever. And they're members of every race in the Proud Boys. But literal Nazis and literal racists on the left, Antifa racists or KKK racists, that's a Democratic Party operation, by the way. Since the 1860s, it has been predominantly, and for the vast majority of the history of the KKK, it's been Democratic. Isn't the argument that Jack Dorsey can just kick anyone off Twitter because it's a private company? Well, you know what? NFL gets to do it too. So this ref was a Marine, and he doesn't appreciate these guys kneeling, and he's the arbiter of the rules, the NFL, so he gets to kick them off the field. Likewise, the NFL's okay with it. People can do it. I personally don't care how Colin Kaepernick or any athlete chooses to use their First Amendment right. I don't know who looks up to athletes, who's inspired by someone who can run really fast and throw a ball really far. I mean, if you're into that, cool. I personally don't see it any different than someone being really good at playing Sonic the Hedgehog. That's me, and I'm excited that a lot of adult people are now joining reality and getting interested in things that matter outside of, children's games, of which protracted infantile men are paid tens of millions of dollars to participate in. And, the American consumer pays billions of dollars, and it's fun. Hey, if you like it, it's your prerogative. Do it, pay thousands of dollars to go see an NFL game. Paint half of your body purple when it's 20 below, and scream until you pass out, as many adult men do, and then wonder why the country's in shambles because you've never expended 1/20th of that amount of energy for anything that matters. Hey, Moto, how's it going?
Going well, brother, going well. Welcome to Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite. Thank you for coming and hopping in our lineup. What's going on, guys? We were squaring away the technical aspects of the brand new Dambroso show.
We're getting that momentum, It's like an 18-wheeler accelerating, It might take a little while. When it gets there, try to stop that.
Exactly. It's like the Trump train. You better get on board or get out of the way. Exactly.
That's right. You're going to get wrecked.
We'd be happy to. So I'm going to come in and hang out with you for today.
Awesome.
And we can talk about the most happening conservative news in Oklahoma and the United States of America. And then we're also going to be bringing you videos like we have a video of David last time you came in. We had just after your election experience, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah.
So I think if Frosty's ready to go, we're going to go ahead and roll that video.
2 months ago, so I shouldn't remember anything I said.
There you go. Exactly.
Okay, I guess we're still going. Speaking of the Trump train, who better get out of the way of the Trump train? They're going to be totally demolished.
Who's that?
The Republican establishment. They better get out of the way. They're going to get wrecked. Or maybe that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, I think that might be the case on the state level as well. I think conservatives, especially in Oklahoma, are starting to get very disgruntled with the political establishment. We see that with our establishment governor here in Oklahoma, Mary Fallon.
How terrible is she?
Well, she's terrible enough to have an 11% approval rating.
Yeah, I think
that's the last time I checked.
The lowest approval rating of any politician in Oklahoma history.
And the lowest approval rating of any governor in the nation.
Amazing.
She's number one in something. Great.
We need to market a spray called Rhino Remover. You just spray it all over him. Make him go away.
We don't call her Mary Phelan for nothing. She's definitely failing at life right now. And it's easy to see why she's got such a low approval rating here. It's an all-red state, and for some reason the political establishment, Mary Phelan included, thinks that we want to see higher taxes, that we don't want our Second Amendment rights, and that the people don't have any idea what they're voting for with our popular referendums and initiatives.
Right. So yeah, they want to come in behind 788 and say, oh, let's completely subvert the will of the people here.
And all they use is some unelected board of health or bureaucrats. Exactly.
And that's what the deep state is. People say it's a conspiracy. Now it's the mainstream thought. I mean, I hate conspiracy. People that know me know that I don't. The deep state simply refers to holdovers from previous administrations. People, unelected bureaucrats and agents of of the sprawling federal and state government. That's all it is.
Well,
It's
no,
the people you don't
not
see on the
necessarily.
news.
There's a lot of moneyed interest, and especially in 2010 with Citizens United being repealed, unlimited amounts of money being able to funnel in from nonprofit organizations.
Think about that. That's a good topic.
Well, I think we don't have to, it's not a preponderance of evidence here. We've got results now. They repealed it in 2010. We saw a sharp escalation and spike of big money and lobbies getting involved in politics. You got...
they like to give to both sides generally, don't they?
No, they don't like to give to
But they
both
do
sides.
shift more on one side, don't they? Which side is that?
Just like big tech admitting now that they were giving in-kind campaign contributions.
Difference, yeah. They're busing Hispanics to polling stations expecting a bigger margin of Hillary support than existed, and they kind of regretted that so many Hispanics, 29%, supported Trump.
29%?
Yeah, it was a VP at Google, right? And she was lamenting that their in-kind donations to the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton. It's funny, I talked to a friend of mine, Andrew, recently, and he just didn't believe that there was any bias in Google. That they're angels and that they
there's no censoring of conservatives.
They wouldn't censor conservatives. There was an objective process that happened, which, by the way, is impossible by definition. To say that someone is an objective arbiter is to say that they don't have a perspective.
Right.
Well, that's impossible, unless they're dead or God or something. I don't know how that would be possible, but
that's certainly not what we've seen. We have definitely not, and it's past just big tech. You know, we already see our systems and mechanisms of government being used against conservatives, with the IRS being weaponized against Tea Party, against Tea Party groups.
Where are her FISA warrants? Where are her indictments? Where is the new circus around her prosecution?
Well,
they never gave her the order.
The indictments are coming. There's thousands of indictments for many of these people. Lois Lerner being one of them. We just saw a grand jury impaneled to investigate Andrew McCabe, the former number 2 at the FBI.
As Comey's is coming too.
Yes, James Comey. I think we've already had James Baker fired. We've got James Rybicki, Chuck Rosenberg. We've got tons of top level. James Clapper over at the DNI. Right. Yes. John Brennan at the CIA, and in fact, that's one of the most interesting as far as we're talking about.
Registered communist, wasn't
it? As far as we're talking about FISAgate and John Brennan, that's one of the caveats that's really neat about this. The reason John Brennan is such an intimate part of this is the CIA cannot operate domestically. It's in their charter that they can't operate domestically.
Yeah, just like the military.
So the CIA and John Brennan had to have help from the Five Eyes, the other intelligence agencies, mainly MI6 and UK intelligence agencies and the Australians.
Is this where Steele comes in?
This is where Christopher Steele comes in, contracted from the UK. He's got his business.
He's former MI6, or he's a contractor for MI6.
Former British spy.
That's where James Bond works, you folks.
Hey, actually, funny enough, it's like something out of a James Bond movie. He has a company called Orbis, and they do business intelligence services, international business.
Does Hillary? Do they ever bill Hillary Clinton or anything?
Yeah, they did bill Hillary Clinton, and they actually billed the American taxpayer also.
Weird.
The FBI also paid Christopher Steele $160,000.
Hey, this is a conspiracy theory, man. I'm not into that. How much of this stuff is proven? How much of this stuff did you just come up with on a peyote trip?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot in the news cycle right now about the declassification that's coming with these FISA.
I guess we're going to kind of find out what's true here.
Yeah,
soon.
And mainly whenever we figure out that these people are responsible for defrauding the courts, and
they wouldn't do that.
Using the most powerful and intrusive intelligence assets that the United States has against American citizens, and they were doing it to try to influence an election. And we've heard about this BS Russia narrative for 19 months now. You and I were arguing with somebody on Facebook just earlier about they didn't think that the Nazis were socialists.
Right.
They thought they were fascists, not socialists.
Yeah. And National Socialist German Workers' Party, guys.
So go argue with Hitler himself.
They said, you must be confused by buffalo wings, ha ha ha.
But
ISIS is not Islamic, did you know that? It's just in the name.
That's it. It's got nothing. And these attacks have nothing to do with Islamic terror. But apparently, what these people don't understand about the Trump-Russia narrative is that Vladimir Putin is a 30-year, he's a career KGB Soviet.
Wasn't he a colonel in the KGB?
He's a Soviet communist, okay? Now, Donald Trump is an American nationalist and a hyper-capitalist. Now, those two political ideologies are antithetical to
Well,
each other.
technically, Putin hasn't been a communist for 25 plus years, technically.
Well, in any
But
case,
can
the
you
idea
take
that
the communism out of him? I guess that's the argument you're making. Can you? I mean, he was a communist for so many years and a high-level communist intelligence operative.
He would snap his fingers and restore the USSR in a heartbeat.
When the switch flipped.
Yeah, he would immediately restore the Soviet Union.
But what about Brennan? You know, the former American CIA director was a registered communist, and he voted for the communist candidate for president in 1976.
He'd appoint himself czar, is what he did.
You think so, Brennan?
Oh yeah, most
Can he actually? I mean, can you actually call him a communist just because he was a registered communist and voted communist, or is that unfair?
I can call him a traitor.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I don't have to see the data first.
Oh, okay, all right.
I have to see.
All right. Well, and we'll see. The 302 reports are going to get declassified with this.
And that's 302 is like an FBI memo or something like
Basically,
that.
whenever they interview a witness or they have contact with someone involved in the
Does
investigation.
Peter Strzok get to look at all those and go through it with a pen and like scribble out like all points he doesn't like?
Apparently he does.
So,
interestingly enough, Bruce Orr would have filled out a 302 each time that he met with Christopher Steele, which is extremely interesting considering that Bruce Orr is in the Executive Office for Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Forces. So he has nothing to do with...
Totally related?
It's totally related.
Is it related?
No, it's not at all. So
what does he do again? What task force?
So there should have been no reason for that Assistant Associate Attorney General to be involved in this chain of intelligence effort.
Listen, Moto, you got it all wrong. It's a total set of coincidences because these people, they raised their hand and they took an oath, and they never violate that oath. And they're held to a high standard of professionalism, and honesty and morality, and no FBI agent has ever done anything immoral. Hoover was just misunderstood when he was spying on MLK and JFK and blackmailing several
And if any
presidents.
of them did do something wrong, then they were clearly just too stupid to know what they were doing, right?
Right, and we have to forgive them for that, and they're not...
Well, fortunately, David, we do have a video that we ran yesterday on Let the People Decide of Trump and the White Hats at the FBI taking all of these people to task, raiding the DNC offices and the deep state. So
isn't Trump just being mean by telling...
Frosty,
by being transparent?
Let's go ahead and roll Trump being mean and enforcing the letter of the law of the United States of America.
What a mean guy. Why would he do that? Doesn't he know this?
The President of the United States.
The U.S. President is Donald Trump.
Google are the big tech companies, though. I had a story that I was looking at last week. Google and MasterCard are going to be involved in an antitrust suit. They apparently had a four-year-long negotiation in which Google secured a stockpile of transaction data from MasterCard for the purposes of improving their advertising models.
Yeah, totally above board.
But that nobody at MasterCard or Google decided to tell any of these customers at MasterCard that their transactions were going to be...
Well, it's all very technical, you say.
Sold to
and
Google.
you agreed to some part of this in the 35-page Terms of Service Agreement and .0001 font at the bottom of your statement. So, I mean, it's just really technical stuff that, rubes like conservatives couldn't understand about how they're going to better serve you. And it's just like the government. They're just looking to better serve you when they have files on American citizens and they collect all the metadata. Sometimes you're too dumb to know that you shouldn't drink bleach.
Well,
and
the FTC recommended a lawsuit, but it got dropped back in 2013. And if I remember correctly, I do believe that, let's see, was it Sally Yates, I think, that was in charge? Oh, no, wait, hold on here.
But you remember when Obama didn't know anything going on, so he had the Lois Lerner scandal going in the IRS. He had Holder running guns to Mexico, which 5,000 Mexicans were killed as a result of Fast and Furious.
We had some law enforcement officers that died as a result of that as well.
No one cared about the 5,000 Mexicans that died. It's so weird how the left has this selective outrage.
Some ATF agents, I do believe, right? Oh no,
At least
actually,
one,
it was Lois Lerner. Lois Lerner was in charge of the tax exemption department at the IRS at the time that the FTC had recommended this lawsuit.
Wow.
Or no, that was for the Clinton Foundation. Excuse me, that was the Clinton Foundation.
Well, and I know she targeted 98 to 99% conservative groups.
Well, and this was, like I said, this was predating that by quite a bit. This was back in 2001, 2005 that they were investigating the Clinton Foundation.
But Obama didn't know about it.
Who else was at the tax division that was working those cases? Rod Rosenstein.
Oh, what? Isn't he the deputy now?
Yeah, and FBI director at the time was Bob Mueller also. So all of this goes
Mueller.
All of this goes quite a ways back. Yes.
And wasn't Mueller? Wasn't he the best man at Comey's wedding?
He was
his best friend.
Also, the bag man for the Uranium One deal actually took a sample.
That can't be true. Is that? Can you prove that?
We're going to, yes.
Okay.
It's all coming. It's all coming. Anyways, we will. I don't know what videos Frosty does have ready for us, but we're a few minutes in. If you feel like taking a break.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, let's roll some videos and we'll get with Frosty and see what he's thinking about the rest of the broadcast. How you feeling so far?
Pretty good.
All right. We'll be back with you shortly.
Do you have problems with pain, anxiety, or sleeplessness? Come see us at Can Help Wellness, where we can help. Stop by any of our 4 wellness centers to find out how premium CBD products can help you find relief. From balms to tinctures to even products for your pets. Natural, safe, organic relief and lab tested with certifications. Reach out to one of our wellness consultants today at 405-455-3012 or online at cann-help.com.
Hey guys, this is my first post-election video, I think. I'd like to thank everyone who helped us out with our campaign. Really appreciate it. Rifle giveaway had been postponed 2 days. You guys have been looking for it. It's gonna be for sure tonight at 9:30. Some people were asking me about it yesterday. I let them know that we're gonna do it tonight at 9:30. Some analysis on the election. Okay, I haven't parsed through the data yet completely, but there's something you'll be seeing here soon. We're actually taking legal action against a candidate that spread falsehoods about my campaign and said that I'd endorsed him and that I dropped out of the race. He took several hundred votes from us, so. But that's all. I mean, that's one thing. That's probably about a third of what went wrong, something in that category. The other third was, well, I'll get into that later. It's not really what this video is about. This video is about, where to go from here. What are we going to do with the state? I'm just telling everyone right now, you look at the econometrics, look at the tax receipts, okay, right now. Stop what you're doing. See how the state is doing financially. See how the state is doing constitutionally. Note how many of your rights have not been mandated away. We had a opportunity, I think, with the candidates fielded last Tuesday to actually add more personal liberty to the public. We will now have less as a result of just who's in the primaries right now. That's just a fact. So we're not just, I'm not going to say look at what liberties will be added, because you're not going to have any probably. Added or restored rather would be probably the proper term from what we moved away. Yeah, we need to test for real Republicans. Well, we have it, but people aren't too interested in it typically. I mean, I understand people live busy lives and they might take an interest in politics, but politics, takes an interest in you.
So, I mean, there are people on the ballot that I had that I'd never heard of in my life. Not once. So I understand that. That's part of it. But I think for some of the larger offices, some of the offices in your area, like you only get one state senator, you only get one state rep, maybe look at those races. You know, you only get one governor and one attorney general, maybe look at those races. In any case, going back to my point, look at how we're doing financially right now. Seriously, after this video is over, look at the Oklahoma State tax receipts. Go ahead and look at them. Look at our unemployment numbers. Look at everything in regards to the economy. Look at your effective taxation rate. Now, I want you to check those in 2 to 4 years. I'm going to remind you that I challenge you to do this. I seriously doubt we'll be better off, but everyone will see, you know, and that'll be the end of that. I mean, either you're better off in 2 or 4 years or you're not. So, thanks to everyone who helped me out with the campaign. Hey, Joey, my cousin's on here. Let me read this comment. I want to end this pretty soon, but we'll see. You need to get back to having a meaningful party platform. Yeah. Well, the party platform doesn't mean anything, folks, whenever someone can win literally running on dogs and babies. There's a guy running against me, really, he just ran on his post. You can go to his Facebook. He said, a lot of you own dogs. I do too. I love dogs. Yes, zero policy positions on his page. He got the most votes. So you can't run against a bunch of money unless you have the will to do it, and it needs to be more than one person that has the will to do it. So if I ever decide to run again or put my weight, whatever that might be, behind someone who runs, we're going to have more volunteers. We're going to have more money. You know, it's hard to run against 150 4x4 signs, you know, on every corner. It's really hard. I don't know what my thoughts are on this, trying to collect them. A lot of people are here laughing at the analysis. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know, I congratulated a guy that won. I mean, there's only one choice now in my race for state senate. There's an anti-Trumper that's basically a full-blown commie, okay? And then there's a guy who we don't know what he believes. So it's kind of like the Trump-Clinton paradigm for a lot of people in 2016. If they were real politicos, they had a problem with Trump because of some of his, you know, Democratic positions in the 90s. So you simply had to take Trump's word that he had changed. He had changed his views. We know that now he had, but my argument was, and the argument that many made was, you know exactly what you're getting with Hillary Clinton. She is a game of Russian roulette with a revolver, a 6-round revolver, and there have been 5 clicks, and the gun has gone around the table. Now you're the 6th person, and it's your turn to pull the trigger. You know what's going to happen, right? You're going to blow your brains out. With Trump, you're right. Okay, you can make the argument you don't know if he's really being sincere for the past 2 years running as president. But at least he's a spun chamber. You know, there is some probability you're going to have a problem with him. So that's my Senate race. There's some probability you're going to have a problem with John Hast, because no one knows what his convictions are. No one in the party made him explain himself about anything. They never facilitated a debate that I'd been pushing for months, even opening the format up to anything. Any topic, any time, any venue, any moderator, etc. You know, my opponents could have the closing words. So, yeah, David Brunson. I think Justin Dine Brown. He gave out a brandy recipe too. I think I'll run next for state senate. I will say I like dogs and cats. They should vote for me. I'm already a shoo-in. Yeah, that's right, David. You just need that, and you need $100,000 from the Oklahoma State Medical Authority. And when you do that, and you can put your name on 4x4s in every intersection, you can then have your platform state that you like dogs and cats and babies, and literally state no policy positions. So that's what it is. I mean, you either have to have the money to convert into will, or you have to have the will, you know, and human action to win. And we could have won. We could have won if any one or two of a dozen things went a different way. Maybe we'll discuss that sometime. That's not what this video is about. But you do have an uphill battle, and you have to have some really committed people behind you to win. I'm not even really that committed. Let me be honest. If if 1/10 or 1/20th of the people watching my videos and liking my statuses would donate 10 or 15 minutes of their time to the campaign, it would be easy to win. Any of you could win a campaign if you had the number of people that I have listening to me, okay, giving 10 to 15 minutes of their time, or simply $1 to $5, something like that, you could win. But, we got a lot of people saying, hey, we want you to run again, and, thanks, you did a good job. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone that supported me. I mean, we've had 8 to 10 real hardcore people that put in a lot of effort. 4 to 5 of them came a little bit late in the game. It wasn't their fault. We just encountered them in the field late in the game, and they gave it their all. And then we had probably 2 to 3 people with us the entire campaign time that did the same. So really the point of this is that, I was the only one that answered the questions I asked you. So Justin said that, he said I was the only one that answered the questions that he asked me. Well, yeah, you can see you don't have to answer anyone's questions. You don't have to be accountable to anyone. You can be an unelected bureaucrat, use your office to raise $100,000 from that appointment, and not answer anyone's questions, not have any positions, only show up to social clubs and win. And that's why so many people are disenfranchised with politics. And honestly, it's only going to get worse unless the folks that say they care now actually get involved over the next 2 to 4 years. I mean, that's it. You've got to get involved. You've got to knock on some doors. You got to give a few bucks. You've got to ask the candidates questions. You need to hold their opponents accountable. If you support someone and their opponent isn't answering any questions, you don't need to make it that candidate's job to prosecute that entire case and say, this guy's not answering questions, he has no policy positions. You need to ask these people publicly policy questions on their Facebook pages and record the whole thing. You take screenshots of the questions and their non-answers or their answers. You screen cap their lies. You have your phone, your cell phone, your video recorder rolling when you encounter these people at their events in public and ask them specific questions. Where do you stand on constitutional carry? Where do you stand on 788? What do you think about tax increases? Because if anyone would have done that to my opponents, I mean, who knows? Who knows what could have happened? So, all right, folks, thanks for joining with me. Gun drawing tonight at 9:30. Be back on. A lot of people have been asking about it. It was really busy at time last couple of days. Sorry I didn't get to all your questions. I wave at all of you guys that are waving at me. The dozens or tens of you or fives of you that are watching, thanks. Catch you later.
Hey, the next Todd Tucker show, I owe somebody big time. We have a really loyal fan who brought me OU tickets to play Army Saturday, and he wants, or she, I'm not sure if it was a he or a she. Thank you, though, whoever you are. God bless you. Frosty says that I'm making him go to a sports balls game. He'll learn something about football. The next Todd Tucker show, more on Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation, and will that woman, the accuser, step up? We'll talk about that 3 p.m. Central.
Dark money hit its record spending here in Oklahoma. And what's dark money? That's just spending on political races where the donors don't have to be disclosed. I'll let you make of that what you will. But we did kick out a great deal of our more conservative members in the legislature, so that might tell you something about it. Of course, Israel has gotten into the Syrian conflict. We talked about that earlier this hour. Israel's going to be blamed for a lot now. The wisdom of Israel engaging in this on the eve of Yom Kippur, a high holy day in Judaism, also known as Atonement. Beginning tonight, it's a fasting day. Famous war, 1973. Arab coalitions understood that a lot of Israeli soldiers would be fasting. A lot of people in society would be fasting. Perfect time for an attack. Egyptians and their coalition had far better weaponry, brand new Soviet weapons and jets. They had numerical superiority, and they surrounded the Jews, and they still lost. So, good luck beating Israel. Wouldn't bet on you fighting Israel. Kevin Stitt. Kevin Stitt says things you would expect a Republican to say, and we'll find out if he means it or not when he gets elected. He pushes back on Edmondson's tax increase pledge, and he says some, just some real common sense stuff. we've got a $1 billion surplus here in Oklahoma. Why do we need to raise taxes? Speaking of 1010XX, why raise taxes by $500 million? And the joke is on these low information voters that think this is going to teachers. First of all, you don't get that $6,000 raise unless you're a 10-year teacher, like literally 10 years, not just 10 years the concept. Additionally, that money goes to the general fund after the first year. So guess what's going to happen to that teacher pay raise? A lot of conservatives, such as myself this last legislative cycle, we had a plan to pay teachers a full $10,000, permanently fund it, and lower taxes. So, and of course, when you lower taxes, of course, you get more economic output and you get more in tax revenue. And we're at record tax revenues here in the United States and in Oklahoma, on the heels of 1 year after one of the largest tax cuts in American history. So, I ask people all the time, tax cuts work for America. 70-plus record stock market closes, with the lowest Black and Hispanic and other unemployment in history, and some of the fastest wage growth ever, and 4% GDP growth, which Obama said was impossible. Why would that tax decrease not work for stimulating the economy here in Oklahoma? Why not? No one can give me a good answer, of course, because a lot of politics is it's pure emotion, folks. It's emotion. And, these are lessons that conservatives have to learn. We like to talk about facts and figures and reason, read stuff from sources, or a liberal can just get up here and start shrieking about fair share and trusting women that bring accusations without any proof against Supreme Court nominees. And, of course, I'm not talking about anything specific. So Attorney General Mike Hunter is 18 points ahead of his opponent for the general, according to polling. Matt Pinnell, Lieutenant Governor candidate, Republican, 18 points ahead of the Democrat. So, good luck in November. And the national polls indicate that Republicans have at a minimum 60 to 70% chance at retaining the Senate. We're really looking at the House, though. I think that's a bit dicier. I don't have any predictions on that. I like to stick more with the facts. I'll go into the predictions when I've got some more information. But these House races, totally agree with Bannon's film, though, the concept of it. This is really a referendum on the 2016 presidential election. And if we don't win in the midterms, it's just the 2020 presidential election early and Senate election early. And of course, this last bundle of news here, which if you were on my personal live stream instead of just the OTU, you would have seen that our state pensions are on fire. I mean, here's evidence of Trump's economic rally. We've got the teacher's pension getting 10% this last year, a gain of 10%. Firefighters doing the best at 11.7%, police at 8.7%, judges at 8.3%, and wildlife at 8.2%. And of course, you can see and expect these kinds of economic rallies whenever you've got a policy set of deregulation, of lower taxes, and asserting American first policies in trade. And a lot of people, and honestly, this is why I think Tim Harris, for instance, lost his congressional race. He didn't get behind Trump early enough on, obviously, Trump's winning foreign trade policy. I understand a lot of classic free market people. They don't understand what Trump's trying to do here, and it's to their detriment. Obviously, he's proven to be a very highly skilled negotiator, and he's done that on behalf of the United States. So I'd really like to, in these formats, get questions later, just get some kind of interface where I can see your comments and questions. I'd really like that, but that's just wrapping up what we have here. We're trying to find our legs in the format. Next time we're going to have it really streamlined and some new implements. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and check us out Tuesdays and Thursdays, same time. We're going to be here 4 p.m., except this Thursday, it's my daughter's birthday, so I won't be here. But Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll do a live broadcast, and hope to see you join us. Take care, folks.
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is